Hello students, in the last video class, we had discussed about methods, the syntax of method, public, static, void, and any method name. Within the parenthesis, we can declare variables. What is the meaning of public? What is the meaning of static? What is the meaning of void? Then method name. Within the parenthesis, we can declare variables. What those variables will be called? They will be called as formal parameters. Then within the curly bracket, the things which are written are called as body of the method. So all these things were covered in the previous video class. In this video class, we will discuss about the statements which can be written without the method. I mean, if we do not define any method within the program, then also those statements can be written directly within the block of class. Okay, but majority of the statements, 90% of the statements are written within the body of method, or else we will get error. Okay, so method plays a vital role in programming. Okay, maximum of the statements, maximum types of statements are written within the block of method, Okay, now let me show it to you what can be written and what cannot. Listen. So let me create a new class, give any name, click on OK, double click over it, maximize the screen, Control A backspace, Control A backspace. Listen, if I write public, okay, if I write public class class demo, public class demo, let me declare two non-static variables, int x is equal to 10. So I have declared a non-static variable x and I have assigned the value 10 to it. Then int y is equal to 20. Now let me perform the addition operation. Okay, x plus y. And let me store the sum in variable z. So I have to declare the variable z also. Clear? Now let me close the block of class. Okay. Now if I compile, I will not get any error. Compile, no syntax error. It means directly within the block of class, we can declare variables, we can initialize variables, we can write an expression. Which comprises of some operands and operators. Okay. Now let me check. Only arithmetic operator is allowed? No. Now let me make it Boolean. B-O-O-L-E-N. Boolean. Z is equal to X greater than Y. Control K, no syntax error. So we can write any expression. Okay, and the expression comprises of some operands and operators operating over the operands. Okay, but so listen, these three statements are written directly within the block of class. We have not used any method. Yes or no? But can we print the value of z directly within the block of class? Can we print? No, we cannot. If I write system.out.println, z, I will get error. I will get compile time error saying identifier expected. Clear? So we cannot write print statement directly within the block of class. So in order to print something, you will have to write the print statement within the block of method only. Okay, sir, can we write for loop or any other loop? Okay, let me check. We cannot write. Okay, for int I is equal to 1, I less than equal to 10, I plus plus. Okay, now if I compile, I will get the error illegal start of type. Illegal start of type. It means any loop, for loop, while loop, do while loop cannot be written directly within the block of class. We will have to write the looping statements within the block of methods only. Is it clear? Okay. Now, sir, can we write if-else statement directly within the block of class? Can we write if-else? If I write x less than y, okay, curly bracket start, curly bracket close, because I cannot print now. So let me leave the block of if like this only. Compile illegal start of type. It means we cannot write if-else statement within the block of class directly. In order to write if-else statement, we will have to define a method, and within the block of method, we can write if-else statement. Now, can we write switch case statement? Let me check. Switch. If I write here x, case 1, okay, let me leave it like this. Case 2, now control K, illegal start of type. So we cannot write switch case also within the block of class directly. We will have to define a method. So directly within the block of class, we can declare variables, we can initialize variables, and we can write an expression which will comprise some operands and operators operating over the operands. Clear? ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे देखो क्या है, क्लास पब्लिक क्लास डेमो. यहाँ पे क्लास का ब्लॉक स्टार्ट हो रहा है. देखो प्रोग्राम देखो, क्लास का ब्लॉक स्टार्ट हो रहा है, यहाँ पर क्लास का ब्लॉक क्लोज हो रहा है. इस क्लास के ब्लॉक के अंदर कहीं पे भी मैंने मेथड को डिफाइन नहीं किया है. ठीक है, तो डायरेक्टली क्लास के ब्लॉक के अंदर वेरिएबल्स को डिक्लेयर कर सकते हैं, इनिशियलाइज कर सकते हैं, नो सिंटैक्स एरर. ठीक है, या फिर कोई कैलकुलेशन परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं. इंट z इज इक्वल टू x प्लस y. ओके, देन सर हाउ टू गेट द वैल्यूज ऑफ x, y एंड z? क्या हम लोग देख सकते हैं सर? आउटपुट स्क्रीन तो खुलने से रहा, क्योंकि सिस्टम डॉट आउट डॉट प्रिंटलन लिखा ही नहीं गया है. लिख ही नहीं सकते हैं सिस्टम डॉट आउट ऑफ प्रिंटलन. सिस्टम डॉट आउट ऑफ प्रिंटलन लिखने के लिए हम लोगों को मेथड का ब्लॉक डिफाइन करना पड़ेगा. मतलब मेथड को डिफाइन करना पड़ेगा. मेथड तो है नहीं, तो प्रिंट कैसे करेंगे? तो प्रिंट नहीं कर सकते सर, वैल्यूज कैसे देखेंगे? बता रहा हूं, देखो. लिसन हाउ टू डू दैट. राइट क्लिक ओवर इट एंड create an object. Okay, click on OK button. So this red color rectangular box is your object. Okay, now there are options. Let me click on the option inspect. If I click on inspect, see the value of non-static variable x is 10. The value of non-static variable y is 20, and the value of non-static variable z is 30. Okay, now within this class, have I defined any static method? Have I defined any static variable? I have not defined any static variable. So if I click on inspect, and if I click on this particular button, show static fields, I will get no fields. Okay, now what if I make these variables static? Static is static, and this is also a static. So in this program, now in this class, two variables are static and one variable is non-static. X and y are static variables. Z is a non-static variable, because what is the rule? If any variable is declared directly within the block of class, but outside the block of method, then the variable can be a static variable or non-static variable. Now, how to identify whether it is a static variable or non-static variable? If while declaring the variable you are using the keyword static, it's a static variable. If you are not using the keyword static, it's a non-static variable. It is as simple as that. Yes or no? So in this class, two variables are there. One variable is x and y, and both these variables are static variables. and variable z is non-static variable. Now, if I compile the program, close it, right click and create an object, right click over it, inspect. You can see I'm getting only one state, that is z. State means the non-static variables associated with the object is called as state of the object. Clear? So here I'm getting z. Sir, what about these variables x and y? I will show it to you. Right click, inspect. You can see there is an option, show static fields. Show static fields. See, 10, 20. Is this clear? So two static variables were there, 10, 20. Okay. What if I create another object? Okay. What if I create the third object? What if I create fourth object? So how many objects are created? 4 objects are created. So how many copies of non-static variables are created? How many copies of non-static variables are created? 4 copies of variable z is created. Okay. So for this object, there is a separate copy of variable z. For this object, there is a separate copy of variable z. For this object, there is a separate copy of variable z. For this object, there is a separate copy of variable z. Okay, and all these objects are sharing only one copy of static variables, that is x and y. Okay, so within the heap memory area, what will be the scene? I will tell you. Okay, listen. So how many objects were created? 4 objects, right? So this is your stack memory area. This is your heap memory area, and this is your static constant pool. And this is your static constant pool. So how many static variables were there? X and y. Yes or no? X and y. 10, and the value of y was 20. And how many objects were there? 4 objects. This is object 1, this is object 2, this is object 3, this is object 4. Yes or no? See, how many objects are there? Object 1, object 2, object 3, object 4. So the name of the first object is demo1. It means this reference, suppose the reference of this object 1010, the reference of the second object is 2020, the reference of the third object 3030, the reference of the fourth object is 4040. Okay, so this demo1 is pointing to this object, this demo2 is pointing to this object, this demo3 is pointing to this object, and this demo4 is pointing to this object. Clear? And all these objects have variable z, and within the variable z there is a dynamic initialization. What is the meaning of static initialization, dynamic initialization? If you are directly assigning any value to a variable, that initialization is called as static initialization. But if you are performing any calculation, so after performing the calculation, the obtained result is stored in a variable, that initialization is called as dynamic initialization. जैसे int x is equal to 10 तुमने लिख दिया, तो वैल्यू 10 डायरेक्टली x वेरिएबल में चला गया, इसको बोलते हैं स्टैटिक इनिशियलाइजेशन. तुमने लिखा int y is equal to 20 या स्टैटिक int y is equal to 20, तो डायरेक्टली तुमने वैल्यू 20 को डाल दिया वेरिएबल y में. ये इनिशियलाइजेशन को क्या कहा जाएगा? स्टैटिक इनिशियलाइजेशन. ठीक, तो फिर सर डायनामिक इनिशियलाइजेशन क्या हुआ? वो जो तुमने लिखा int z is equal to x plus y, तो x plus y क्या होगा? रन टाइम में दोनों का वैल्यूज ऐड होगा, जो रिजल्ट आएगा वो रन टाइम में स्टोर होगा वेरिएबल z के अंदर. तो इस तरह के इनिशियलाइजेशन को डायनामिक इनिशियलाइजेशन बोला जाता है. तो यहाँ पे z का वैल्यू क्या आएगा? ये स्टैटिक वेरिएबल, ये वाला ऑब्जेक्ट भी ये स्टैटिक वेरिएबल को शेयर करेगा, ये ऑब्जेक्ट भी स्टैटिक वेरिएबल को शेयर करेगा, ये ऑब्जेक्ट भी स्टैटिक वेरिएबल को शेयर करेगा, ये ऑब्जेक्ट भी स्टैटिक वेरिएबल को शेयर करेगा. लेकिन हर ऑब्जेक्ट के अंदर z का अलग अलग कॉपी क्रिएट होगा. दिस इज द रूल. सो हाउ मेनी कॉपीज ऑफ non-static variables are created? It depends upon the number of objects created. In this program, Okay, I've created 4 objects. So 4 copies of variable z will be created within the object. And how many copies of static variables will be created? Only one. One copy of variable x and one copy of variable y, because x and y both are static in this scenario. So what is the value of z? 10 plus 20, 30 will be the value of z. 30 will be the value of z. 30 will be the value of z. Is this clear? Okay. Now you might be thinking, sir, within the stack memory area, these demo 1, demo 2, demo 3, demo 4 will be stored. Yes. Yes. Because in BlueJ, actually, what is the confusion in BlueJ? Even if you do not use the main method, which main method? Public static void main within bracket string arrays. Then also we are able to compile and execute our program. But if you are using any other IDE apart from BlueJ, if you are using Eclipse or NetBeans or any other standard IDE, in that IDE, we must define the main method, public static void main string array args. Without defining the main method, you can compile the program in those IDs, but you cannot execute the program. You cannot get the output. But BlueJ is providing us the facility that without creating main method, you can use that interface to create objects. See, I've used the interface, those options, and the red color boxes have appeared at the bottom. Yes or no? So who has provided this facility to create object like this? BlueJ IDE has provided this facility. Okay, so many of the students get confused. Sir, even if we are not writing the main method, then also we are able to execute our program. But in most of the program, you're writing public static void main string array args. So what is the reason? See, we have to write the programs which will be universally accepted by all the IDEs. I mean, we should write a program in such a way that it should compile and execute in all the IDEs, in BlueJ also, in Eclipse also, in NetBeans also, in all other standard IDEs also. That is the reason. Okay, so I think you got the concept. Yes or no? So here 4 objects are created. Here how many objects are created? Here 4 objects are created. Okay, so within the class you can see only variable z is non-static. So how many copies of variable z will be created? It depends upon the number of objects created. And how many copies of static variables will be created? Only one throughout the execution of the program. And these these copies of x and y, which is only one, will be shared by all the objects. Anyway, I was talking about methods. What is the use of method? Can we print? We cannot print the value of z. We cannot print the value of x. We cannot print the value of y. We can print the value of z. So for this, I will have to use a method public void display, public void display system.out.println, system.out.println variable z, Control K, no syntax error, close, right click, object, okay, right click, you can see display method. You are able to see display method. If I click on display method, you will get the output 30. Is this clear? Okay, clear, no? So within the block of method, maximum statements can be written, and directly within the block of class, we can declare a variable, we can initialize a variable, we can write an expression, only these 3 things. Okay, close. Listen now. Yes. Now let us discuss about the classification of methods. Okay. Classification of method. But before going to the classification of methods directly, let me talk about a return type. Let me talk about return type of method. Let me talk about return type of a method. Let me talk about return type of a method. Okay. For example, if I write public static, you can use a static keyword, you cannot use a static keyword. It depends upon you. If you want to call the method through class name, make it static. If you want to create an object and then call the method upon that object, make it non-static. It depends upon you, your requirement. So public static void, suppose add, okay, and suppose this method has two parameters, int x and int y, int x and int y, okay. So this is your body of the add method, body of the add method, okay. So this is your example number one. Example number two, example number two, public static int add int x comma int y, int x comma int y, okay. At the last you need to return a value, okay. Return what? Any integer value. You will have to return any integer value. So this is the rule, okay. So here what is void? Void is the return type of the method. What is void? Void is the return type of the method add, of the method add. And what is this int? This is also the return type of the method add. The return type of the method add, return type of the method add, okay, return type of the method add, okay. But here this add method will not return any value, okay. Here add method will not return any value, will not return any value. And here add method will return an integer value. ठीक है, तो बहुत सिंपल है. अगर किसी भी मेथड का रिटर्न टाइप वॉइड है, मतलब वो मेथड कुछ सेट ऑफ स्टेटमेंट्स को एग्जीक्यूट करेगा, प्रिंट भी कर देगा, लेकिन कोई वैल्यू को रिटर्न नहीं करेगा. रिटर्न मतलब कहाँ रिटर्न किया जाता है? टू इट्स कॉलर. जो इसको कॉल करेगा उसको कोई वैल्यू रिटर्न नहीं करेगा. कौन? अगर उस मेथड का रिटर्न टाइप वॉइड होगा. अगर किसी मेथड का रिटर्न टाइप अपार्ट फ्रॉम वॉइड होता है, मतलब वॉइड को छोड़ करके कुछ होता है, बाइट होता है, शॉर्ट होता है, इंट होता है, लॉन्ग होता है, फ्लोट होता है, डबल होता है, बुलियन होता है, कैर होता है, ठीक है, स्ट्रिंग होता है, या एरे होता है, या कुछ भी, मतलब वॉइड को छोड़ के, तो उस मेथड को उसके हिसाब से, रिटर्न टाइप के हिसाब से वैल्यू को रिटर्न करना पड़ता है. अगर मेथड का रिटर्न टाइप बाइट है तो उसको बाइट टाइप वैल्यू को रिटर्न करना पड़ेगा. अगर मेथड का रिटर्न टाइप फ्लोट है तो उसको फ्लोट टाइप वैल्यू को रिटर्न करना पड़ेगा. अगर मेथड का रिटर्न टाइप बूलियन है तो उस मेथड को या तो ट्रू रिटर्न करना पड़ेगा या तो फिर फॉल्स. अगर मेथड का रिटर्न टाइप स्ट्रिंग है तो उस मेथड को स्ट्रिंग वैल्यू ही रिटर्न करना पड़ेगा. आया समझ में? ये डिफरेंस है रिटर्न टाइप वॉइड और अपार्ट फ्रॉम वॉइड में. तो अपार्ट फ्रॉम वॉइड में सिर्फ इंट यहाँ पे लिखा हूं, सिर्फ इंट नहीं, कोई भी डेटा टाइप हो सकता है, लेकिन उस डेटा टाइप को इस जगह में डेटा टाइप नहीं कहा जाता है. इस जगह में क्या कहा जाता है? रिटर्न टाइप ऑफ द मेथड. तो डेटा टाइप वर्ड यूज कब होता है? जब वेरिएबल्स को डिक्लेयर करने की बात होती है. लेकिन वही डेटा टाइप अगर मेथड के हेड पार्ट में दिखाई देता है तो उसको वहां पे डेटा टाइप नहीं, मेथड का रिटर्न टाइप कहते हैं. क्लियर? ओके, नाउ लिसन. Control A, backspace C. PUBLIC, public class adder, huh? Public class adder. PUBLIC, public static static void void add. Okay, let me declare two variables n1 comma int n2. Okay, now here I will use a local variable, say sum, and add these two numbers n1 plus n2. Okay, now can I return this sum? I cannot return this sum value. I cannot return this sum value. So here I will get compile time error. Incompatible types, unexpected return value. So all of you note this. Okay, note this in your notebook. If the return type of a method is void, and if you're trying to return any value, you will get compile time error saying incompatible types, unexpected return value. The compiler is not expecting this method to return any value. Okay. Then we can print some. Yes, we can print some. So we can print some system.out.println, system.out.println sum of concatenation sign parameter n1 and concatenation sign parameter n2 is equal to concatenation sign sum, control K, no syntax error. Then you can call the add method. But if you are calling the add method, you cannot click on OK button directly because add method is a parameterized method. You have to pass the values of n1 and n2. So n1 value assume 10 and n2 value is 20. So if I will click on OK button, I will get the output sum of 10 and 20 is equal to 30. Sum of 10 and 20 is equal to 30. Okay. Clear? Now let me define a main method. Okay. Let me define a main method and make it non-static. If I make it non-static, it means you can see if I right click on adder, I will not get the option add here because now the method is non-static method. If the method is non-static method, you are bound to create an object of the corresponding class. So I have to create an object. Okay. Right click and then I will get the add method here. Okay. So what was the difference between static and non-static? When it was static, just it was getting appeared on right clicking over the class. If the method is non-static, then we have to create an object. So this red box below, we have to right click over it and then we can find the method. And then the same thing, we have to pass two values, one for n1 and the other for n2 and click on OK button to get the output. Clear? Now listen. What if I so this way of creating object, this red box, okay, to create the red box using BlueJ. Okay, so this is done because of the BlueJ IDE, because BlueJ IDE facilitates us to create object like this by using its interface. What if I do not want to create any object? Okay, I mean using the interface of BlueJ, I want to create the object manually by writing object creation statement within the main method. Then for that, I need to define a main method. Public static void main capital string string array space args. Now, if I try to call the add method, okay, then I have to pass the values because the method is parameterized 10, 20. Okay. Now see, when I'm calling the add method, the value 10 will be received by the variable n1. See the head part of add method where the add method is defined above. So this value 10, when I'm calling add method, I'm passing the value 10. So this value 10 will be received by the first parameter and this value 20 will be received by the second parameter. Clear? But here I will get error. What? Non-static method add cannot be referenced from a static context. Okay, non-static method add int. What is the meaning of int? It's a parameterized method having two parameters of type int, cannot be referenced from a static context. So I have to create an object of the class ADDER, adder a obj is equal to new adder, and upon this object I can call the add method a obj dot add, control K, no syntax error. See, is this clear? Okay. Now if I right click over this and call the main method, then main method will call the add method. Okay, is this clear? I am calling the main method, I'm not calling, see, I'm calling the main method, I'm not calling the add method. Add method, yes, add method. I'm calling the main method, but main method is calling add method internally within its code. Clear? And within the code, the values 10 and 20 are passed. So every time we will get the output 10 plus 20, 30. So if you want to change, you can use a scanner or buffer reader and take the values from the user and pass it here. Clear? Now, what if the return type is int? What if the return type is int? Here we will get error, missing return statement, missing return statement. So in such case, we should not print, we should return the calculated value, or return RETURN, return SUM, return sum. Is this clear? Control K, no syntax error. So if the return type of the method is apart from void, then you can return, or you have to return a value of the same type. अगर int उसका return type है तो एक integer value ही तुम return कर सकते हो. और ये return मतलब कहाँ? ये जाएगा कहाँ? वापस उसी जगह जाएगा जहां से उसको बुलाया गया था. So यहाँ पे हम लोग को आउटपुट क्या मिलेगा? कुछ भी नहीं. सर आउटपुट कुछ शायद देखिए टास्क बार में शायद खुला होगा सर. नहीं सर, नहीं खुला है सर. आउटपुट क्यों नहीं आया? इसलिए नहीं आया क्योंकि इस प्रोग्राम के अंदर कहीं पे भी तुमने system.out.println नहीं लिखा है. आया समझ में? तो तुम लोग यहाँ पे इनिशियलाइज कर सकते हो एक मेथड कॉल, और यहाँ पे वैल्यू लिख सकते हो सम, और सम का डेटा टाइप वही होगा जो इस मेथड का रिटर्न टाइप. तो यहाँ पे आराम से प्रिंट करो, क्या दिक्कत है? ओके, system.out.println, system.out.println what? Sum of concatenation sign. ओके, ये जो 1020 में पास कर रहा हूँ, एक काम करते हैं, यूजर से ले लेते हैं. ठीक है, import import java.util.sca and scanner. Okay, now within the block of main method, let me create the object of scanner sca and an scanner scn equals to new scan and new scanner. Okay, system.in. Now let me give a message system.out.println, system.out.println, enter two integer numbers, enter two integer numbers. Okay, int num1 is equal to a scanner object dot next int num2 is equal to a scanner object dot next int. Oh, clear? I can see I've asked two integer values from the user. So in place of 10 and 20, I will pass what? Num1 comma num2. Clear? Now I can write here sum of num1, sorry, sum of num1 concatenation sign and concatenation sign num2 concatenation sign is equal to concatenation sign variable sum. Which variable sum? Here see, you have declared a local variable sum which is holding the value returned by the add method. Clear? Now compile, no syntax error, close, right click, main method, and within the block of main method we have asked the user to enter value. So here it will ask us two values, 45, enter 16. So it is 105. Sum of 45 and 60 is equal to 105. Is this clear? Okay, na? So very interesting. What is happening? Listen. So you're calling the main method. Okay, you're calling the main method, and this is the output screen. Okay, this is the output screen. Yes, assume this is the output screen. Clear? So within the output screen, you're getting the message enter two integer numbers. So you're getting the message enter two integer numbers. Enter two integer numbers. So you are giving the value, suppose 40, and then you are pressing enter, and then you are giving 60. Okay. So the value 40, okay, the value 40 is received here. Okay, clear? So at this particular place we have the value 40, and the value 60 is received here, and here 60 is stored in variable num2 and 40 is stored in variable num1. Clear? So num one. Local variable num1 is having the value 40, and local variable of main method, that is num2, is having the value 60. Clear? Now you have created an object, adder a obj is equal to new order, and then you're calling this method upon this object. Very good. So you're passing num1 and num2. So what is happening? This num1 means this value 40. What is num1? 40. And what is num2? Num2 is 60. Yes or no? So the value 40 is received by this formal parameter n1. So now it is having the value 40. Now variable n1 is having the value 40, and this value 60 is received by n2, which is having the value 60. So n2 variable is having the value 60. When you're adding these two numbers, so within sum 40 plus 60, 100 is stored. Yes or no? So return sum. When you're returning sum, it means you're returning 100. So 100 is returned where? 100 is returned where? 100 is returned at this particular place. 100 is returned at this particular place. Okay. So at this particular place, the method has returned 100. So 100 is getting stored in the variable sum. So when you are displaying sum of, so you are getting the output, what? Sum of num1. What is the value of num1? See, the sum of 40, and then and you have printed and num2. What is the value of num2? See, it is 60. Sum of 40 and 60, then you have written is equal to, yes or no, you have written is equal to. Then sum. What is the value of sum? What is the value of sum? Sum is the local variable of main method. Now sum is equal to 100. Okay, is equal to 100. So this is how it works. Okay, so here n1 and n2 are called as formal parameters. Okay, and so here we can say n1 and n2 are called as formal parameters of the method add. Formal parameters. Formal parameters of the method add. Of the method or function. Okay. Method add, and here num1 and num2 are called as the actual parameters. Actual parameters, or you can call them as arguments. Okay, clear now? So what is the difference between formal parameter and actual parameter? This difference, okay, we will discuss in the other video class. So as of now, thank you so much for watching this video class. Bye bye, take care, and practice all these concepts. Okay.